Hey, and welcome to Dr. G Speaks. I am Dr. Kristen Guillory, and I am so very excited to help you experience a life of freedom, faith, and fun you may not even realize is possible. Listen, I know you feel held back, I know you feel stuck, and I know you are hiding. As a coach and the author of Look, Stop Hiding, How to Find Your Voice and Never Dim Your Light Again, you will get to listen to some amazing stories, receive some homework, that's the professor in me, and get some tools to help you live the life you deserve. It's time to quiet the noise and walk in the fullness of who God created you to be. It's time to stop hiding and start thriving. Together, we'll uncover your potential and ignite your journey to a fulfilling life, a life of freedom. What up, y'all? Welcome to Dr. G Speaks for a really special two-part series. I am having a conversation with the one and only Dr. Lisa Hammonds, who is my aunt. Yes, she's my aunt. We talk about the Extravaganza, the event I hosted in November 2024, and my aunt shares about fear and self-doubt and limiting beliefs that she's actually struggled with for many, many years and where she is now. I'm so grateful that she hopped on. So, Dr. Hammonds, what it do?
Hello. How are you?
I'm great and excited that you're here so we could talk about the extravaganza that happened this last weekend. So, first question is, what was the experience like for you? Just how was it?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I felt safe. Okay. I felt safe and I felt like at ease and I felt empowered. And it was just the time for me to just kind of not think about all the worries and the woes of life, but to just be free. And that I felt that the entire weekend. And I am the kind of person who tends to worry about things and focus on things that give me a little bit of strife. But none of that happened in this space this weekend. It was just so empowering and freeing. Yeah, freeing.
So, with it being so freeing and empowering, what are you taking from the weekend? Like, what is something that you just learned or felt that you were like, I want to keep doing this? And then what is it? And then how are you doing that?
Yeah. So the intentional affirmations of being happy and at peace and moving forward with my dream. And that's centered around this notion of rejecting those things that are obstacles, from the mental obstacles to the emotional obstacles to the physical obstacles, and to really, really plan not only, the rejection piece. I reject that I'm going to have to not fully pursue well, I'm going to reject that I'm not going to, I'll just say this. I'm going to reject that I'm not going to offer my signature train the trainer workshop in 2025. I'm going to reject that. I'm going to reject that I am going to be fearful about being amazing. I'm rejecting that. How I'm going to reject that? I'm going to just put one foot in front of the other and tell myself how amazing I am every day. And I'm going to walk in that. So I think this notion of doing something, checking in with yourself, but also doing something with that check-in, right? Making sure that you're moving after you check in and you feel amazing and you feel empowered and you feel like, right, I'm ready to go. What are you going to do? And then you just plan that. And that way you can actually implement it. Once you plan something, you reject it, you plan what you're going to do, and you do it. Amen.
Amen. In Jesus' name. So that is fantastic. Can you share a little bit more about, listen, you're my aunt. I've known you my whole life. And for you to talk about rejecting things and accepting that you're amazing and affirmations and walking in freedom, how long has it taken you to get to this point? And what started you on this and knowing you wanted something different? Because listen, I've always thought you were amazing. I used to want to drive like you when I was young. Did you know that? I watched how you would drive in the car with your
Crazy.
knee up sometimes, and I'd want to copy that. And then you would, your high hair that I wanted to wear because I called you Halle Berry and Arsenio Hall. And so, how long? Because, me and other people might assume that you've always been confident because, you were a Black woman in IT in the 80s doing your thing and offered all these amazing opportunities. And not that you weren't confident there, but you've been on your own journey. And so when did that start? Like, when did you realize I want to show up even more as me and surrender and reject things that don't belong to me. When did that start and how has that journey been?
So I can't say exactly when it started. Well, I can tell you what started it. Let's go with that, right? I'm going to go with what started it. And I'm going to be honest with you. It's the conversation that I have with you. We have been besties forever. We've talked about everything forever. And I would tell you something about a situation at work or with a friend of mine, thinking that you would, say something to the effect of, let's say I bring a situation and I'm expecting you to just kind of say, everything's going to be okay, Lisa. You're, some sort of support in that lane. And you would say, wait a minute. Do you understand who you are? You don't have to take that. And that was always the conversation. It would stymie me, right? Because I'm like, I'm not coming at it from that way. I'm kind of explaining it to you so that you can give me some strategies on how to tuck and hide almost, not necessarily tuck and hide, but to manage my feelings in that actual situation, not as I would have said back then, go against the grade. I mean, literally, I'm like, what is she talking about? What do you mean? You would say that's not a safe space for you. And no other explanation, like no other, well, go there and talk to them about blah, blah, blah. You would say, no. Do you understand who you are? And it took a whole lot of talking to me about things like that for me to even begin thinking about it in a different way. I'm trying to problem solve the wrong problem, right? The wrong problem. The problem was me dimming my light, me accepting being marginalized, me not being able to flourish. And after a while, listen, I'm like, y'all, trying to dim my light? What's going on here? It just finally sinked in. I don't know.
Well, I'm so glad. Apparently, I say that to people often. Like, who do you know you are? I don't even, isn't that crazy? I don't even remember that, but I do remember some of the conversations and maybe thinking, no, they don't deserve her. And well, thank you for allowing me to share that with you because I'm sure it was like, like what Rock T, you remind me what Rock T said on Saturday when he said, I told him the same thing. I did not remember that either.
Yeah. Oh, several times. Several times. And, and it would be, I mean, I could feel the angst in your response. I mean, you were saying the words pretty calmly about, well, not calmly, but, very passionately, but it felt like you wanted to kind of like jump through the phone and shake some sense in them. I'm just saying, because you could clearly see it and I was struggling with it at the end of the day.
Mm. So you're
I
not
remember you
wrong.
I know, right? I know. Like, yeah. And it was interesting because it's not like you would say the response based on my situation. You did not, you would hear me. Like you didn't just come in the conversation with, I know my aunt is going to be dimming her light, so let me give her the don't dim your light spiel. No, the spiel was applicable to the situation. You would listen to the situation and give me the kind of encouragement that I needed for that one, whether it was dimming your light here, or whether it's do you know you already have the tools, you don't need more tools, or do you understand that all people need your expertise? Do you understand how amazing you are? You have done the work, you've got the degrees, you've read the books. I'm just saying.
Facts. What did you share? What you just said reminded me of what you said at the rest retreat for Black women. What did you say? You remember your phrase?
You're damn right.
Yes. And what did you apply that to? What did you add that to?
Well, I applied that to someone else who was dimming their light, who did not want to, who felt uncomfortable about being called doctor, and that she's earned that. And she would dim her light and she would introduce herself as dim my light, doctor. And I said to her to say, I'm doctor who I am, and you damn right I'm doctor that person. So I would say to myself, doctor, you damn right I'm Dr. Hammonds. There's something about that that just makes you rise up.
Somebody posted that yesterday. They posted that.
Well,
They quoted
the
you.
point person who I said is she said, I think about you all the time. And honestly, as your aunt, I felt like I'm known, I was like, you don't want to do that. But but that was the flavor. And she told me that. She said, I think of that all the time. And I'm about to say it every time. I say it to myself all the time when I'm going into situations. And it was interesting because when she was telling her story, something just inside me stirred up. And I guess it was, I could relate, I could relate. And I'm just thinking, this is what I need to tell myself. Like, I need to tell myself, you're Dr. Hammond. You damn right.
And isn't that beautiful how you can be in a space of people and see how amazing other people are, but struggle with seeing it in you? People
Oh, for
will
sure.
gas you up and you're amazing. And I spoke with somebody just before this conversation that said that, they attended the extravaganza and said they had never been in a space with people that were so kind to her and no competition, that it was
Right.
overwhelming. I know that's a space that I'm honored to curate, whether it's that or the retreat you just mentioned, but it's also a space where everybody is gassing everybody up. Like it's
Mhm.
literally everybody is everybody's cheerleader. And why do you think that that is an element that people so appreciate at the event? And then why do you think that it's lacking?
Well, so you have a statement that you say that there's enough to go around. Okay. That to me, that answers the question. That answers the question about why it's lacking because that idea is not very prevalent that there's enough to go around. There's more of I'm getting mine and you don't get yours type situation. So sitting in the fact that there's enough to go around, everyone's great. Everyone has the potential. All the things that it's inclusive. That's what it is, right? It's not, I'm going to grow like you have not. And that was the thing about the extravaganza. You are saying to the world that you did not become who you are on the backs of people. You brought people with you. We are all rising. That's important. And that's what you say. There's room for everybody. There's compensation for everybody. There's love for everybody. It's for everybody. It's not everybody. And so we all just feel all the same. We all feel great. We all feel love. We all feel safe. We all feel happy. That's just what it is. It's interesting. It's kind of weird.
But we need it more.
W-
It is. It's enough to go around. It really is. It's enough to go around. And you've heard me say, God is a God of abundance. And if he can give this person this, he can give you what you need. And I think because of whether it's crab mentality, whether it is specifically, although we support everybody, the majority of the people who attend my events are Black women. And, we have been pinned up against each other. We've been told that we have to work 3 times as hard. We've been told we can't trust each other. And to get in a space and it's like, hold up, these are other Black women and we are cheering each other on and we're supporting. Lisa, it's healing. On my side, I have seen just what a space like that does for people. But since we're taking a moment to talk about Black women, what it specifically does for Black women to say, wait a minute. Another woman said that I have never been seen. She said, I have never been seen. I saw a text message that people were talking about the event and just saying how much it was remarkable. They felt safe. They felt seen. And they were like, I'm trying to chase this high. I'm trying to keep that going. But it doesn't have to just be at that event. It may not be at that level, but it could actually be starting with us. Am I somebody that sees other people? Am I somebody that allows other people to see us? Because it's so healing. And Lisa, do you ever sit back and look at all that you've done and say, man, I am the spit? Do you ever do that?
I actually did that this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a project that I worked on, and when I finished it, I looked at my work and I said, "You did that." And I sat there. You did that. And I kept telling myself, you did that. And I just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Like I started sitting straight up, right? I was like, you did that. And sometimes when I get a little weird about my talents, I go back to that. And I just remember that because I took something and I made it amazing. I mean, I took nothing and I made it amazing. And I did that. I sure did.
Come on. Come on. Okay. So, do you mind? Are you open to sharing your fabulous age?
You know what? I thought that was coming up and I'm ready for it. I'm here for it.
Okay, let's go. Now, listen, y'all, she is telling the truth when she shares her age. You're going to be like, what? Let me go research her. That's not true. So, Lisa, 2 things. Would you mind sharing your age and share for individuals who might be your age? They might be, 5, 10 years older, 5, 10 years younger, who think that, well, I've reached this age. I can't change, or I've reached this age and, it is what it is. I guess I can't pursue any goals. So, would you share age and then just encouragement for somebody who thinks that they can't do anything anymore?
Okay. So in September of this year, I turned 63.
Come on. Looking 33. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pause on that.
Okay, let's
And
pause. So talk about
let's
why you,
pause on that.
let's pause on
I'm,
that.
I'm pausing on that because, and I actually said this at the extravaganza. You remember the exercise you had us do that was a four-letter phrase, a four-word phrase that describes our life. My four-word phrase is ain't no stopping me. That's my four-word phrase. And I have so much to do. I have so much to learn. I feel energized about and I don't mean just work. I mean travel. I mean live. I mean love. I mean laugh. I mean play pickleball. I mean ride my bike. Like I'm doing it. Ain't no stopping me. So I'm gonna pause on that. 'Cause that's just sometimes I've asked you this a few times. Like, I don't know why I still feel so energized about stuff. The culture says that I'm supposed to be sitting down somewhere, and I have leaned into that. That's why I have not shared my age with people because I don't live, which this is my first time being 63. Okay. So I don't know what it's
Mm,
supposed to feel like. I don't know what it's supposed to feel like, but for some reason, the culture says I get the impression that this is not, or this is abnormal, or whatever, right? It's not kind of the normal. Although when I think about it, I think of people that are in my circle that are just as active as I am. But anywho, that's kind of where I was coming from, right? Feeling like, well, you really probably need to be, turning down the blinds, closing the curtains, and just kind of going and chilling. But my inner me, I can't. I hike. I do things. I can't stop. And the energy around it, you and your work, it inspires me up even more. And there are people in that group, and I always tell you this, I always say to you, well, people my age, and you'll say, Lisa, sometimes it's not just your age group. There are so many different people who struggle with the same struggles you have with movement, with feeling unappreciated, feeling marginalized. And I attribute it to my age, and it's sad to know that any of us feel that way.
right. And I'm gonna just recap a couple things you said. You hike, you play pickleball, you ride your bike, and I know some folks who have said that because I'm this age, I can't do this. I've had somebody tell me about himself. He was like, oh my gosh, I'm 41 and I'm 41 and I can't believe I'm 41 in life and I got to start changing my life and I'm 41. And I remember saying, what are you talking about? I'm older than you. And he looked at me and he said, what? I said, sir,
Mm.
I am older than you. He said, what are you talking about? We all think he's one of the guys who's attended one of our men's events, Candid Conversations for Men. And he said, okay, because we all thought you were about 35. Yes, he was like, yes, you look younger than your age, but your energy, you do not have the energy of somebody in your 40s. And I hear that often. And I'm like, well, what is a 40-year-old supposed to act like? Listen, Jaden told me that. My nephew Jaden said, yeah, you don't act like you're in your 40s. I said, what? He's like, I know people in their 40s and they don't have the energy like you. I said, so what are they doing? Why don't they have the energy? Well, they're tired because they have kids and they pay bills. Excuse you,
Mm.
Jaden. And I've had people say that. And you know this, I had a bad fall a couple months ago. And a lot of people prayed for me and said, I hope you're okay. And I got an email that said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I'm praying for you. And, we got to be careful because we're getting older. And I told her, I reject that. I said, I reject that. Yes, but getting older for me does not have to mean I'm less capable, less mobile. I reject that because this is how I feel. If you start thinking that and believing that, it'll happen. Lisa, even though you might have thought certain things about your age, there's still things that you think which allows you to still move and function in the way you function because of your thinking and your mindset. Because I used to say this to you when you were training professors and all that stuff. You were always open to learning. Like you never let age stop you from learning. And you would talk about that. You would say, I have colleagues or friends who they just stop learning. And I think one of the reasons you are able to still move the way you move, you look the way you look, is you have always been open to learning. You've never just said, oh, I know everything, or, oop, this is the age I am. I can't get anything else. And so you are going to help men and women of all ages just walk in freedom of, wait a minute, I am this age and what a blessing. And I get to choose some more stuff. So fill that in for me real quick. I am Dr. Lisa Hammonds and I'm 63 and give me 3 things you're going to do in the next 12 months.
And I am going to Oh, let's see. So I did have a fall. I was riding my bike in August and I fell and I broke my arm. So 2025, I'm riding my bike again. Okay.
Come
And I'm
on.
gonna ride it like I'm gonna ride it. Like before I fell, I was doing, you know, 18 miles on my ride, whatever. It's all good. I love it. So I'm going to up that.
Wait,
I start,
pause. Pause. You will not say whatever after 18 miles.
oh yeah. It's, all you need is a bike, some water, and a wheel. You got it.
You gonna slide in 18 miles like that? Like,
Well, it's
oh,
9 up and 9 back. You can do it. You can do it.
well, however you want to break it up, it could be three groups of six. It's still 18
Three
miles.
groups of six. Yes, yes.
It's still 18 miles. Like stuff that's just your norm is extraordinary to other people. Like y'all, she just said, oh, 18 miles, whatever. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Okay, so you're gonna ride your bike like how you
I'm riding
used
my bike.
to. What else?
Hmm. I'm going to show up confidently in my Dove Training and Innovation Street. So my business is Dove Training and Innovations, named after my mom. And I know that what I was doing, and you have called me out on this before. I've been busy doing busy work, afraid to just lean into, I have compartmentalized what I'm doing. So I'm going to shut out all that extraneous noise that makes me not pursue my dream. I've already started doing that. I am so laser focused on what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm not pulled over here with this webinar, with this book. No, no. I'm so laser focused on what did I say? My signature train the trainer program. I stole that signature from you, by the way, because you got your signature, all the stuff. But I got, I'm gonna have a signature train the trainer program. Watch me. And
Let's
then
go.
finally, of course, I'm gonna travel and visit my grandbabies.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So riding a bike and you're showing up for your business, Dove, and you're going to see your grandbabies and so much more. So it's like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, why not do that? Because there's just, again, why not? And I appreciate you mentioning, because listen, you will read a book, okay? You will read a book. You will take a
Dog.
class. You will take a seminar. You probably read 100 books a year easily. I know you do in some way with all your researching, and you're not alone in that. You're not alone. And we've talked about this. We've talked about this where it's like, okay, if I read this next book or if I get this next degree, if I get this certification, then I'll be ready. But by the time you get that next one, you still don't think you're ready. And you keep reading and you keep seeking certifications and you keep seeking degrees as opposed to not seeing that you had it all along, like in The Wizard of Oz. It was with you all along. And you tell me what you think about this. So here's one of my theories. One of my theories is that since we're Black women and a lot of things we do are for all, but this conversation has touched on Black women in particular. One of my theories is I believe that the enemy has used doubt, fear, and insecurity at a higher level to specifically hold and paralyze Black women. I really believe that because we are the highest degree group of people in the country. Black women have more degrees than anybody else, yet are still not being paid, yet are still not getting the positions. And I do believe the degrees are not about, oh, I need this for my business. I think Black women keep getting all these degrees because we don't know that we're enough. We don't believe that we can stand on who we are right now. Now, listen, I got my PhD literally almost 20 years ago, and things are much different today. Me getting mine was connected to I always wanted it. I kind of wasn't sure what I wanted to do next, but I wanted to do it. But it's interesting. I see this and I see this happening over and over. And I've told people, don't get another degree. I have a
What do you mean?
mentee who has 3 master's degrees. 3. I said, you better not get another master's degree. What are you doing? What are you doing? I know people
So,
who, okay, talk.
yeah, I have personal experience with that. Yes, I do.
Okay,
You,
share.
well, you knew pretty much, and I thought I had it all figured out when I told you I was getting my doctorate. Those words you said to me, but you actually knew the answer because you knew the journey. You knew that a big part of why I was getting that degree was for validation. You knew that. And again, when I went to you for some advice on how to succeed with the doctorate, how to all the things, I'll be looking for new jobs with a doctorate. You put a slight little pen in the balloon and said, "Why are you getting it?" And then, so okay, you were like, "Okay, all right. Do you think you need to get it?" To me, the approach you went was, "Here's something to think about if you're gonna." I'm not gonna tell you not to get it. I'm just gonna ask you if you can answer these questions affirmatively. Then maybe that's a good option for you. And a lot of those questions I were not able to answer affirmatively because I was, at the end of the day, looking for validation. I was looking to be affirmed. I was feeling imposter syndrome. And guess what? I got the doctorate degree. And guess where the imposter syndrome went? With me. It didn't go away. Imposter syndrome stayed there with the doctorate. So I know what you're saying. I get it. I get it. And when it comes to us as Black women, that's that mantra you would always say is, it's okay to not be okay. We are not okay in some of these environments, and we are not able to really dive into what that is. And we think getting more degrees, adding all these letters to our names when we're not okay in a different way. And we have to get into what that is.
And what is it?
Again, I feel it's a situation where we feel like some of it is self-imposed, I'm going to say to a certain degree. Like we are the savior to everybody and everything for some reason. I know I have been guilty of that. And I'm still working on why I do that, but some of it has to do with me not fully in loving me and taking time for me, pushing all of my feelings and emotions outward to someone else and giving them till I don't have anything left in the bank for me, and unpacking why that is and what am I really looking for when I do that. And I'm drained. What am I looking for? And why do I feel like I need to do that? Because a lot of it, again, is my own. I want to be everything to everybody sometimes.
That's good. Help the people. That's good. Because we've been encouraged that in some way or adopted it from somebody else. It's all of that where I have to do everything, be everything. I've been there. I definitely was there before. I had myself on a pedestal. I thought I had to save everybody. I thought I had to answer every question until I got to a point where I didn't have to answer. And then moving into the space of, yeah, no, I reject that notion that I have to work 3 times as hard. And I reject the notion that I have to have like everything together before I pursue something, because you know this. One of my desires is for everybody, we're talking about Black women, but for Black women to just see how amazingly powerful we are. Like we show up and do the darn thing, literally working at 30% capacity. Yes, we're not at 100%. Because we're
Right.
not rested or we're not fully believing in ourselves. But the way that we show up working at like 30%, what would things look like if we were even 50 or 60? And part of that is resting and then realizing that I'm enough right now, and just the spaces when we can affirm each other and see that and know that I don't have to read another book. I can put this book down. I know it because I almost fell into that some years ago when I thought, oh no, I can't coach because I need a coaching certification. I can't do this, until I sat back and thought, hold up. I've been in these streets. I have all these degrees. I'm going to create my own. But there was a moment I was like, oh, but my PhD isn't from Harvard, or my PhD isn't from that kind of school. And that's crazy because I got my PhD at 12 years old, basically, at 27. And I was still having moments of, that's not enough. I have to create that until, like I said, until it shifted. And I realized, no, I am the certification. I've been doing this and I have proven records and I have proven things. And so same for you. You have proven experience across the board. And while the books are fine, you can move already. You can move right now. And I actually want to pause and offer an assignment for anybody listening. Anybody listening, whether you are a Black woman or you are not a Black woman, are you pursuing a degree, a certification? Are you reading these extra books? And if so, are they preventing you from moving forward in doing what you know you can be doing? Now, there's a difference between, I want to be a nurse, I don't have the degree yet. Yeah, get your degree. You have to get your degree and a license and all the stuff to be a nurse. I'm not talking about that. But is there something that you've wanted to do, but you're waiting on something? And if you keep waiting, it's never going to happen and you're just not going to move anymore. So if that's you, think about what that is, and then what's a step that you can take What's a step you can take? Even if you're a little afraid, what's a step you can take? And so, Lisa, I'm going to pose the same question for you. What is something that you have been potentially waiting to do because I need it to be the right time, I need the right book, I need the right this, but after really, if you sit back and think, I actually could do it now. What is that thing for you? And then what is the first step?
So I'll say something that I did already. So as you mentioned, I do like to attend webinars. I like to read books. And the way I learn about those books and webinars is through my email. I have signed up for everybody and their grandma's programs. I have unsubscribed because I'm cutting out the noise. I know myself. So you have to know yourself, know what causes you to kind of travel down this lane of whatever it is that you feel is holding you back. What's holding me back is thinking I got to attend all these things and I'm not ready. And it wasn't enough for me to say that I'm ready and to do the work and not have to cut out the noise. It wasn't enough because I tried. And every time I would see something that sparked my interest, I would start thinking about, yeah, that's something else I can learn. So I literally went through my email and unsubscribed from all that stuff. And it was not easy because I'm thinking I'm going to miss something amazing. And as I was doing that, I had to keep telling myself, you have all the amazing things you need. Unsubscribe, just unsubscribe, just go. And now what I'm doing is drawing from my own knowledge base, and it is enough. It's enough.
That's good. Oh, and I love that. It's so practical. Unsubscribe from all these things. Literally, that is perfect. Because sometimes we can think, okay, well, the first step is I need to like do this really big thing. And the really big thing can be overwhelming. That was so practical. Go and unsubscribe from these courses that you do not need. That's so practical. That's so practical. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that quite a bit. I love
And
that.
I literally told myself, because I'm not gonna front that it was like it was easy to do. I told myself, and if you need to subscribe again, you can. That's real. But I did it. I did it.
I love that. I love that so much. This week's affirmation is, I am enough right now. It's time to move. I am enough right now. It's time to move. Be sure to subscribe. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Deuces.